homeschooling. Okay, let's admit these people. Great. So just to start, hopefully I'm not echoing too much. Just to start, so I'll kind of redo this a couple of times as people are still coming into this meeting. But you'll recognise, hopefully you'll recognise me on the screen. Obviously head of hockey at St Dunstan's. Rob, you probably won't recognise unless your child was on this tour last year. You may remember him and the company from, because we used the same company last year from that launch meeting. So this is Rob. He is here representing Living with the Lions, which is the tour company that we use. Like I said, we used them last year and they were absolutely fantastic. The best tour that I've been on. Definitely, I mean, mentioned by lots of the members of staff as well. Mr. Palmer's been on countless tours and trips and said it was comfortably the best one that he's been on. I'm just gonna, what I will do as well, I think it might be quite helpful, is I'll get some student reviews from last year as well, because we took our current year 8 and 9. We did a double year group last year, and I'll get some pupil reviews as well. They'll be very honest, and it was really, really good. So yeah, and all the staff, we had 9 staff with us last year because we had a massive group with 67. And we'll be very open and honest with everything from the start. So if you have any questions, either now or further down the line, please do just ask them. With questions, and on that note, what we'll do is if you just chuck questions into the chat, I will hope to answer most of those sort of FAQs throughout tonight's presentation. And then if I don't, I'll check the chat at the end and go through those, and then we can have 5 minutes of free for all if other people want to ask questions and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll just give everybody 1 or 2 more minutes, and then I'll share my screen and we'll get into it. Okay, just before I share my screen, I'll give you the rationale of this tour. So the rationale is to put these young people in a high performing sports environment. That's why we've chosen Barcelona. Obviously the weather helps, and it's nice. It's usually nice-ish in October, which is really good for fixtures and training and generally having a good time. But the main pull, which is probably most of the reason that you guys are here, is for FC Barcelona, for the biggest, if not one of the biggest football clubs in the world. So everything that we do from start to finish of this tour, we do in the style of, well, with high performance in mind. So from the start, we'll put them into pods. They'll be in teams where they'll be looked after by one individual member of staff. Now, that's obviously a logistical thing where they can get them through the airport, but it also kind of players win prizes, sort of kind of competing against each other so we're rewarding punctuality. If people are late, they lose points for their team. If they're all on time, they win points for their team. Generally good behavior, being kind to each other, picking up litter, stuff like that. Going to bed on time, all that sort of stuff, and training really hard, and players of the match win points and everything. We're just rewarding all of the good behavior whilst we're away. And last year was awesome, was really, really good. It was so good to see these young people step away from families who obviously would support them if they were there, and they're kind of given a little bit more kind of freedom, and well, not freedom's the wrong word, independent. I know they're given a bit more independentness, or whatever the word is, independence. And yeah, they have to self-regulate a little bit more. So it might be little things like having conversations with ordering food in Spanish, or managing their own budget for the week, or making sure that their room get downstairs on time so they don't lose prizes or lose points towards the overall prize. Little things like that. We're just trying to reward those good behaviors. So that's kind of the rationale for it. It will be, for those people who are on it, it's not an exaggeration for me to say it will be life changing. Not because it's a totally different environment in terms of it's not a third world country that we're going to and all that sort of stuff. It's just the independence they have will grow them up so fast. And I had so many comments from parents and families when their child came home, just saying like noticeable difference, just because they've been given that kind of space to grow and clean their room and all that sort of stuff. So it is
Yeah.
really quite amazing. Um, Someone's got that. Thank you. I think they've just muted themselves. That's brilliant. Yeah, and just celebrating all of those non-sporting sort of winning habits that if anyone reads any high performance books or Diary of a CEO, that sort of stuff, that's what we're trying to kind of build into this, as well as the occasional cross-curricular Spanish conversation or something like that. Um, cool. So just for the people who've come in late, if you've got any questions, chuck them in the chat, and I'm just going to share my screen now, and we will get into this. Hopefully my screen will be okay. Rob, can you just let me know if you can see my screen?
I can, yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so move that a little bit lower down. Okay, oh, someone else is coming in. Right. Okay. So we have our tour here. Okay. I'm going to talk us through what's going on. This is Castelldefels. So we're planning to stay in the same hotel as we did last year because it was absolutely outstanding. The area that we stay in is south of Barcelona. It's where a lot of the football players live. It's a really, really lovely area. And it is typical because I've run up and down all of this. When we were staying there this year early in the morning, it is typical to have these long beaches that run for absolutely for miles. So this is kind of the port area. The town's a little bit further up to the left of the screen, and the hotel is two blocks, two streets away from the beach. So it is incredibly close. We had 2 afternoons last year where we went down, well, morning and an afternoon where we went down and had some time on the beach. We did a sunrise walk, which actually isn't that early because sunrise was about 8 o'clock that time of the year. So we got up a little bit earlier, went for a walk and took some incredible pictures, which I'm not sure if they're up on Instagram yet, but I definitely will make a post. And a lot of it went up whilst we were away, so there is content to have a look at if you'd like to, if you want to see what was going on. And I'll make a big post as well. But yeah, that's one of the big factors of where we're staying, where we would be staying. It's quite a sleepy little town. Which suits us down to the T. Definitely a town rather than a village. So we do have supermarkets, pharmacies, all those sorts of amenities. And I'll show you some pictures of the pool and everything a little bit later on, and everything in the hotel. But it was a perfect hotel choice. I've run this trip obviously last year, and then we ran it the year before. Some of your children might have been on that trip as well. The first year we ran it, the hotel wasn't great. One of the reasons, and I'll talk very candidly about because this isn't a cheap trip. One of the reasons it is a little bit more is because this hotel is really, really nice. It's not over the top. It's not like we're splashing money. It's still just a 3 star, but it's absolutely perfect for this sort of thing. So there's large meeting areas where we can talk to the group as a whole. There's a lovely big pool. There's a big outside area where we can go and eat as a group. The rooms are fantastic. It's generally pretty quiet. I mean, not for the other people when we're there, but just generally pretty quiet. And it's just really, really well located. So that's kind of the area. Let's go through your trip, daily information. So here we are. So day one is get to the airport. Now that's you are responsible for getting your child to the airport. I know that sounds like a bit of a faff, but I'll explain the rationale behind that. I led a tour once. Actually, I wasn't leading. I was just on the tour where we organised a coach, and the coach broke down, and we had to scramble to get about 40 kids with all of their bags in Ubers and taxis and minibuses to get to the airport at that time. So there's just no point taking that risk, as well as if somebody's late or we can't wait for that person. So there's no reason that we would take that risk again. Not that it happened at this school, it was a different school, and I was just part of the trip. But that's the reason why. I know, and also it's quite nice as well because you get to come to the airport and see your child away as well, which is a really nice thing to do. In terms of how early we'll fly, this will be totally up to change. It will happen on the Monday morning of the first week of half term, of the October half term. So that's something like the 20th or 19th off the top of my head. Um, and we flew at about 9:30 last year. So we had everybody in the airport at 6 o'clock, which actually isn't too bad, because the first year it was earlier. It was much earlier. I think we were in the airport for 3 o'clock or something like that. So it's a little bit more friendly. Obviously, those flight times will change. We have a member of Rayburn Tours meeting who met us there and helped us check all our bags in. Obviously, 40 students or whatever it is. I mean, we had 67 last year, plus 9 staff, plus 8 hockey bags or whatever we needed to, because we needed to take, or individual people's hockey sticks we take for you. We don't expect you to check it yourself. So we've got all that sort of stuff that needs to be organised. Just a comment on the luggage before I move forward, whilst in my brain, because it's a really easy thing and an FAQ. Everybody will get a hold luggage. So last year the limit was 23 kilos. They also get a carry-on bag. Let me just let these people in 2 seconds. There we go. They also get a carry-on bag as well. And if there's anything extra that they want to bring, we will bring those oversized bags, which will have hockey sticks in and football boots and whatever. So there's not an issue with space. Please don't worry about that. So we will check in there. They will be put into their pods. The passports will all be taken off them, handled by their pod leader. We'll check them in. They won't have their passports for any time that they don't physically need to go through a security gate. So they'll be handed out at the security desk. They take them, they go through, they're taken straight back off them. Because there's again no point taking that risk. Although most people will be used to traveling on independently, there's no point taking that risk. Then the first day is essentially just get to the hotel, get settled in. The rooms, so generally the rooms last year were a mixture of threes and fours. We had one pair. If you decide to come onto this trip, I will ask you closer to the time for room preferences. What I'll ask you for maybe 5 people that you're comfortable sharing with. Obviously, you won't be sharing with all of those 5, but from that, I will try and match make so that everybody is happy and everybody has at least one person in their room that they're really comfortable or would love to share with. So the years that I've done this, it really hasn't been an issue. No one's been stuck on their own or stuck in a room they didn't want to be. So please don't worry about that. And no, that's kind of that covered, to be honest. But the only reason we would move people from rooms is if there was like severe misbehavior or something like that, and we would move people around. Just a note on any misbehavior. I mean, we haven't had anything crazy happen over the last few years. Obviously, young people are going to make mistakes, but we kind of pride ourselves in the P department of managing behavior really well. And the letters that go out with this will have a line at the bottom saying, for anything extreme, you will have to, a family member will have to fly out, take that child and fly home with that child. Now that hasn't happened. That's only ever happened once on a trip that I've been involved with, and it was quite severe. So please don't worry about that. But I do want to make you aware that obviously we're still away, we're still representing the school, and we have a lot of people giving up their time for no extra incentive for us to time and the holiday and giving away time away from their family and everything to run a trip for these people. So the kids really got it last year. We had a fantastic time, but just something to be aware of. Okay, so it's arrive, it gets settled into the rooms. We then head out and we go to for training, self-led training sessions. So The hockey Astro last year was maybe a 5 minute drive away. It was a fantastic facility. There'll be pictures up as well, I'm sure, which you can have a look at, which was really useful because the last thing you want after traveling for a long time is another journey. The football was the same. It might have been 10 or 15 minutes away, but it really wasn't far. Again, fantastic facilities. And that's just a chance for us to settle with the tour groups that we have. We might last year we had a mixture of year 8 and 9 girls who hadn't played together before. We were going to be playing a format which some of them weren't used to in terms of 11 aside or 9 aside. So we just need to settle, have a game basically, and then come back to the hotel for dinner. The food in the hotel last year was superb, and that's why we're going back this year. The year before, it was not good, so we ended up eating out a couple of nights. But the food was really, really good. It's pastas. It's they did like chicken goujons and stuff, but stuff that the children will definitely eat, with also lots of other healthy options as well. Last year there was 3 courses to every meal, something to start us off, and then a main sort of meat dish or veggie or whatever, and then a dessert every single time, and it was really really good. Served to the tables. Yeah, couldn't praise it highly enough. It was really really fantastic, and we didn't have issues with people not eating or anything like that. Or if we did, they were very minor, and it might have just been they were too tired or something. An early go to bed that night as well. Throughout their time, just because that's kind of reminded me, we'll give them time to use their phone. So they will not have their phone with them all the time. It just doesn't happen. So what we will do is the pod leader will look after them. They will have windows within the day to have access to their phone. It might be an hour in the evening or whatever, just to contact home. We will always have our phones and have access to emails. So if little Jimmy hasn't sent you a text that they've arrived all okay and everything, you'll be getting regular updates on the Instagram. You can also reach out to us, all of the staff who are there, and yeah, that shouldn't be any sort of issue. But clearly, we don't want them to have their phones all the time because we want them to engage with the environment around them, and all that sort of stuff. If we go somewhere where we would expect they would like to take pictures, then obviously we'll give them their phones for a little bit of time. And if they're ever out and about in, maybe let's say we're getting lunch in a mall, where we aren't physically with them all the time because they've got a little bit of free time, maybe an hour or so, they will be in groups of 3 as a red line. That's our rule. And they will have their phones just in case there's any sort of emergency. Right, so this is more Castle de Fels, and that is day 1 completed. As we go down, so this year looks like the FC Barcelona is on the Tuesday, or potentially on the Tuesday. This is also subject to change, so I'll run through everything. Subject to change, sorry, in terms of which day it's on. What is being offered will stay within the package. But we go down to the Joan Camper stadium and grounds, and we go and the Johan Cruyff grounds. So there's basically Barcelona have a big training grounds like Chelsea have Cobham, and we go down there. We have a football session led by the Barcelona coaches, and you will be training on the same ground that Barcelona men's, women's academies they all train on, which is really quite special. The facility is incredible, as I'm sure you can imagine, and the coaching sessions were awesome last year. Boys and girls, all genders will have this session. Everybody gets this session. Okay, so I mean, you don't have to if you're desperate not to, but you will be strongly encouraged to do it because it's an incredible experience, and everybody gets to do this. With this tour, the girls will only play hockey matches and the boys will only play football matches. There's no crossover. The reason being is logistically it just doesn't work. So if we were to try to do that, it would be people everywhere. It wouldn't work with the staffing. So they don't. All the girls and the boys will get the FC Barcelona coaching experience. So the girls will get some football, but they don't play in the fixtures. They play in the hockey fixtures. That is also in line with which term they're in. So it's the Michaelmas term. The girls it's their hockey term, and it's this term. The girls are in their hockey term, and the boys are in their football term. So it aligns really well with that, and allows them to properly engage with it. But they won't be involved in it. They won't. The girls won't get football fixtures, and the boys won't get hockey fixtures. It just doesn't work. So that happens in the morning. Last year, we were lucky enough to go and watch the youth version of the Champions League draw that happened. So the Johan Cruyff Stadium is right next door, and we were in having our Barcelona coaching experience, and we could hear the goals being scored, and it was Bayern Munich versus Barcelona under 18s. And then the coaching staff came up to us at the end and were like, "Do you want to watch the second half?" So we went in, which was really, really cool and amazing to see football at that sort of high level. Obviously, I can't promise that this year. It was just coincidence that it was happening there at that time. But I'm just sort of saying that this tour company and the on-ground staff that they use, who will be with us all day, um, this sort of thing can happen. So they do work sort of tirelessly to make those opportunities work. And we didn't pay anything extra for that. That was just an incredible bonus opportunity that we got through working with the tour company and through their partners as well. So then lunch at their own expense. I'll talk about money, or I might as well talk about money now. In terms of how much do we think that your child would need? The word need is really clear here. So they shouldn't need any more than €20 a day. That is the top end of what they should need. The only time they'd be spending their money is to buy lunch. Um, it's half board other than that, so there's no breakfast, no dinner costs related to that. They might want to buy a snack out or go to a supermarket and buy some snacks. They might want to buy something in the hotel bar, a coffee or a hot chocolate or something, but that's not going to be major. Um, the only other time that's what they need. That's the food that they'll the money that they'll need for their food. Um, Obviously, I can't tell you how much your child will want. Everybody's different. We've had people spend a lot of money in the Barcelona shop. You know, retro shirts in there are going to be close to €100, and children have spent a lot of money there. But there's also a guy on the corner by the gate who's selling the exact same stuff, but without the official branding, and it's €20 for a shirt rather than 100. So a lot of our kids did that last year, especially for souvenirs, keepsakes. You don't have to spend the premium. Obviously, they're going to charge you a premium in the mega store, which is 3 stories of Barcelona merchandise. But that you don't have to, and it's as much as you want to spend, really. So I think for a 5-day away trip, it might be lunch or a meal in the airport either side, and 4 lunches or whatever, 5 lunches. I think €100 covers that nicely. And it gives them a chance to sort of budget that. We're more than happy as well to look after that money for them. So, they'll have their own they'll have their own pouch for each child with their name stuck on it, and it'll have their phone in it, it'll have their passport in it, and any money, so they can use us as a bank, so they don't go out and, lose their bag and it's got all their money in or whatever. The squads here, so 2 football squads and 1 hockey squad have been proposed. That's just because I think that's roughly what I'm expecting in terms of take up for this trip. So I'm expecting there to be about 15 to 20 girls and maybe 20 to 25 boys who are interested in this trip. I don't know if we'll get that. Those squads will change and the pitch sizes will change according to how many people we have in those squads. So we don't need to think too much more about that until we get sign-ups. Here's some images from some of the places we play. Lovely sunshine there with the water-based pitches. So all the facilities are really high quality. And yes, some of them do have the big grandstands as well, which is quite cool. But that's your football evening and your hockey evening for the fixtures after obviously the coaching experience in the daytime. Back to the hotel and go to sleep because you'll be knackered. Day 3, we go to a high ropes excursion. Last year, we went to the high ropes was actually inside a trampoline park, which we would definitely go back to again. It was incredible. It was the biggest warehouse I've ever been in, with a viewing gallery up top and just trampolines like and soft play everywhere. Um, the kids absolutely loved it. It wasn't naff in any way. There was like wall trampolining, there were games, there were gladiator style stuff where you're knocking people off. There's a mini football cage, there's dodgeball areas. It is really, really, really good. So we definitely look at doing that again. And that has high ropes within it. If it isn't that, it will be something similar. So again, something like a high ropes where we are trying to get across that it's okay to be uncomfortable, and to be slightly out of our, push ourselves into things we might not necessarily feel comfortable doing or 100% comfortable doing. And high ropes is a really good one for that. So it's that courage and kind of engaging those parts of the, those non-sporting winning habits that I talked about previously. Then afternoon is Camp Now. So they are currently building a new Camp Now, or Camp New, new Camp New. It is on the site of the old one. So the last 2 years we've been there, we haven't been able to go into the stadium because it's a pile of rubble. I don't know when they're planning to complete it. It probably is somewhere near next year, so we might get to go into in it if it's being completed. It might be another year. I don't know. But either way, the setup at Camp Now is well worth going to anyway. So we go in. I've already talked about the mega store. Every child will get the virtual reality tour as well. So they get to go in, see all of the trophies, just engage with all of Barcelona's history, see all of the incredible players. And there's this amazing 360 circular room, which has a movie or not a movie, an interactive visual display going on, which is really incredible, and definitely worth doing as well. So there's a robo keeper there as well. There's other bits to get yourselves and to keep yourselves entertained, but that's a really, really nice time. Good opportunity to get some souvenirs, and thank the people who've sent you there, especially if it's from the guy out the front who's selling it a bit cheaper. But yeah, that's a really, really fun time. It's all kind of fenced in, so people can't go off. It's pretty central, but it's not right in the middle of Barcelona. So that's a really, really fun day. And then we'll go home to the hotel. That looks like a pocket of time where we'd probably go to the beach. We ended up going in the pool probably 3 nights out of the four, and going to the beach, I think 1 or 2 days, just for a 2 hour session or whatever we were doing. Children are not allowed to swim in the sea. That's a red line. But we go down there, we enjoy the time. You can swim in the pool. So we will be doing that. Hopefully the weather is fair. Then we're into day 4. Okay, just let other people in. Okay, then we're into day 4. So this is a training session led by a local coach or potentially by our coaches as well. So it's a chance for us to just build on some stuff from the game, maybe some beach time, some team building, stuff like that. And then last year and the year before, one of the best challenges is on this day or a similar day, we give each pod, maybe it's 8 to 10 people, we give them €50. We go to a supermarket, they buy their own lunch, and then we judge them. They present them to us. So based on nutrition, inventiveness, value for money, whereas bang on €50, you lose points either side. So budgeting, all that sort of stuff. And that is really good fun. So we did it last year. We had lots of sandwiches, lots of salads, but you can't chop anything. We don't have any utensils, so it's a case of like putting things together. But we had some really, really good meals actually. Some of the year 8 girls smashed it. They got loads of fruits in there, loads of veg, and it was actually really good. The year 8 boys spent it all on sweets pretty much. So there you go. There's the difference between the two mindsets. But they still got a lot of food. But that's really, really fun kind of activity, and that's what we kind of do. We kind of litter the trip with these fun little challenges, to kind of again take people out of their comfort zone, work in units where they're planning and preparing their meal. And it's harder than you think to do that with 8 people in your team who all want different things. Match day 2 is in the evening, so we will then go and play again. The Most of the hockey's up in one area in Barcelona called Terrassa up in the mountains, which is about an hour away from where we are. We played one match last year up in the mountains. We played one match about a 10-minute journey away last year. The football, they were pretty close as well. They were kind of within 20 minutes, half an hour. So it wasn't too much traveling and they were really well matched. And they'll be even better matched now that we've been away for 1 year and the tour company Living with the Lions now know how we are as a school and where our strengths are and everything. And I better know how to do that as well, how to describe us as well. Then it's day 5 is essentially just wake up. We went down. This is where we did our sunrise walk on the beach last time. Had a couple of beach games, but it's just wake up, do that, come back, shower, clean your rooms, check out, and then we're on our way to the airport. Really, we depending on when the flights are, there may be time to like last year we went to the Olympic Stadium, we went to Montjuic, like the big palaces up high where you get an incredible view of Barcelona, and we had our lunch in the mall in the bull pen, the old bull ring, bullfighting ring. So that's what we did last year. We try and stay away from Las Ramblas. There's not really any point of us going down there. It's a real pickpocket hotspot. There's a lot of opportunity for people to get lost. There's nothing really good to spend your money on down there anyway. We sort of prefer that, even the kids would prefer doing that with their families or with friends later on in life. There's not that much to see and do there, so we stay away from that. It's a bit of a high risk environment, and it's not really what this is about. Other things we've done in the past, we went to Park Güell, I don't know how to say it, which is the big Gaudi sort of town on top of the hill. Looks a bit like what's the word? Like Dr. Seuss kind of vibes. We really enjoyed that as staff. The kids didn't enjoy it as much. So again, it's probably something to do. Maybe when people return, I don't think it's worth our time with this tour, especially as it's quite expensive as well. Apologies, that was quite a lot of talking from me, but there's, all of that information was really, really useful. I'm hoping it's really, really useful. Just have a look at the accommodation. See, oh, here we go. This is the place that we stayed last year. There's the pool. I'm sure people will be interested in seeing that. We stayed in these rooms, a mixture of these rooms, big lobby area where we hung out, did all of our team meetings, one of the dining areas. Yeah, bar area. Those are some of the examples of the bedrooms. Really, really nice. They do very much look like that. So there you go. So I'll leave that just playing in the background because it's quite nice to have the visuals whilst I just run through a couple of the FAQs. So a couple of things. So I'm sure people will be asking, it's quite expensive. Like, why does it cost more? This one costs about £100 more than last year. Roughly, we did it at 14.90 last year. Because we have way less children potentially interested because we're not doing 2-year groups. We had to do year 8 and 9 together last year. Otherwise, year 9 would have missed their year or year 8 would have missed their year to go. We want this to be running for the year 8s every single year to give them a really great start to their sporting life at St Dunstan's, and it was incredible last year. So there's just less kids, which means that obviously the staff spaces, which are paid for from the children's obviously as well, that it just means that there's the less margin for everything. We also tend to try and over egg it slightly to give us a little bit of a kitty, so that when we're there, we one of the days we can do that challenge where we buy them the lunch. If there's an opportunity to go to a game like I described, even though the tickets were free last year, they might not be this year. We would go and take that opportunity. We also will include some tour kit for that. So last year, I'm wearing it now. Actually, we've got hoodies. All the children got hoodies, a playing shirt, which they love. They're really smart, and socks. So that's what they got. Their kit whilst they're away, and they all are initialed so that everybody knows whose is whose. And yeah, it's a lovely bit of kit that they can wear in school as well. What else do I need to say? We ran pretty tight last year in terms of under budget. So I think the parents are actually going to get a nice surprise. There might be a little bit of money come back to them this year from last year's trip. So we really try and do no hidden costs. Like everything is included, and if anything, maybe we can give you 50 quid back at the end, hopefully. So that's they're going to get some nice news at some point. That a little bit of money will come back to them. Um, Wi-Fi food rooms. You've seen the rooms, they're flicking up. The Wi-Fi is fantastic in that hotel, it reaches everywhere, so you won't need to use your data whilst you're away as long as you're in the hotel. The food I've already talked about, I won't carry on about, but it's very good. Um, Spanish the Spanish cuisine generally is pretty much meat and potatoes. So if you, or at least a carb and a meat, so just come prepared with that. There's not going to be loads of vegetables around, but we obviously will request more, and vegetarians clearly are catered for. So please don't worry too much about that. Phone usage I've talked about. Money I've talked about. Getting your child to the airport I've talked about as well. So we've covered a lot of that. I'm just going to go back on and see if there's any questions in the chats. And if Rob wants to jump in and say anything, I've said quite a lot, but if he wants to, he's welcome to. Okay. No, so no questions in the chat at the moment. If anybody wants to put anything in there, we're pretty much at the end of the presentation. Sorry, it's been a lot of information, but I wanted to be pretty thorough with you. And yeah, we'll just sort of kind of hang around for any questions. If you can't put it in the chat for any reason, then just put your hand up and put your speaker on and you can ask them. Right. Is that go on, go for it.
When I only have one question. When's it going on to WisePay so we can pay deposits?
Thank you for that. Lovely question. Yeah, not quite sure yet, but it'll be pretty soon, as soon as finance are ready to do it. So hopefully this side of Christmas, but I'll communicate that out there. You are unlikely to miss out because we took 60 kids last year, and there's only 125 or something in the year group, and not all of them will want to come. So we wouldn't cap it dead at 40. This price is costed on 40. If more people wanted to come, we would take more people. We would take more members of staff as well. So that wouldn't be a huge issue. But yeah, I will let you know as soon as I know.
Okay, perfect.
Hi, sorry, I missed at the beginning. And what's the ratio of staff to students on the trip?
Last year we took 9 students for 67 pupils. So that ratio is, well, as you can work it out, is about 1 to 8 sort of thing. Generally, what happens is I will, or whoever the trip lead is, in this case, it's probably me, I will not have a pod. I will sit above all of them and I will manage in case of any sort of emergency, if someone needs to go to hospital or whatever, or dealing with misbehavior, that's me. And I will also look after the pod leaders. But yeah, it's usually about 1 to 8, 1 to 10, something like that.
Okay, thank you.
No worries. Okay. Do you have to be in one of the top football teams? Absolutely not. This is not a performance selection. This is open to everybody and anybody who wants to come. Last year we took 41 boys. We had 3 football squads from that. That was across 2 year groups. We had an A team, a B team, and a C team based on ability. It worked out that most of the year 9s were in the A team, just because they were older and 1 year ahead of the year 8s. But we did have a couple of talented year 8s in there. The same thing happened for the hockey, although we actually ended up playing in a year 9 and a year 8 team because they were pretty similar ability. But no, you don't have to be a certain level at all. Yeah, great question. So yes, if more girls sign up, absolutely, we would take another squad. The pitch sizes that we'd play on, generally the year 8s would be playing 7-a-side, maybe 9-a-side. They like to play 9-a-side at that year group in Spain, which is not something we do here, which is a 3/4 pitch. If we had, 15, 16 girls, we'd look to progress it into a couple of squads so that everybody gets fair pitch time. Anything more? Payment breakdown. What we've done in the past, and this is why we've tried to get this out really early because we're aware of all of the financial pressures at the moment. What we did in the past is we asked for a deposit of, I think it was 390 it was 390 out of the 1,490, which left 1,100 left to pay, and that was paid regular installments before it went. I think it was 3 installments, but you can pay it all up front. If you really won't have the money for a while, it's not a deal breaker. We can hold it for a little bit longer, and then we can ask for those payments to come back in, as long as it's all paid by the time we go. No issues there. Just whilst we're waiting for any more questions, Rob, sorry, you've been on this call and you haven't been able to say a word because I've said
no,
everything.
that's fine. I was just going to say, just really introduce who we are as a company. So we are a small independent travel business based in Gloucestershire. And the most important things really to take away from it is sort of the accreditations that we hold. So we are members of ABTA and we do hold an ATOL license. So that really is your financial security. So should anything happen to us as a business, your money is safe. So certainly with COVID, we did sort of find out a lot about travel businesses and sort of how buoyant they were and sort of what stability they could sort of offer their customers. So that's one thing that we sort of have a tick in our box. We are also members of the School Travel Forum. So we partner with a company in Spain, so they're sort of like our travel partner, and they're the guys that are on the ground with the school. So we have to very much have a belt and braces approach to the sort of health and safety side of the trip. So that means that every transfer, every excursion, every fixture venue, every fixture has to be audited to ensure that it is safe. So that's, we are audited then annually by the School Travel Forum to make sure that we are hitting the standards, because we can't risk using an old coach or sending you to an area that really isn't safe. So that's something that is big around school travel. You wouldn't necessarily see it in sort of standard travel. I mean, our business is also is sort of two-pronged, if you like. So half our business concentrates on school travel, and the second half is based around supporter-based travel. So for anyone that's been on to sort of Rugby World Cups, or as our name suggests, we are based around the British and Irish Lions. So we do a lot of tours out to the British Lions tours, and cricket and rugby are our two main sports from a supporter's point of view. I was just going to say also about the financial security. It's not just us as a business. Should anything happen, where it also covers is if one of our suppliers, let's say the coach company, was to cease trading, it just means that our financial stabilities, we then have to supply you with a different coach. Or if the hotel was to cease trading, we would then have to supply you with a new hotel. So you are covered then by the package travel regulations. So I just hope that gives the sort of financial security that the school are booking with a reputable travel company.
Thank you for that. So another question's just come in. I'll answer really quickly. Our STC room together, one area, one floor? Great question. We will definitely request that. We haven't had to have that in the past. I would like that, mainly because it makes things a lot easier for the other people staying there as well, because then we haven't got kids running in, slamming doors and all that sort of stuff. It's something we will request, but it's up to the hotel whether it makes it happen or not. It just depends where the rooms are, what size those rooms are, and stuff like that. But we pocket teachers around everywhere, so it would be very unlikely for a corridor to have no teacher in it or whatever. So yeah, that's all covered pretty well. And I put stickers on everyone's door with their name on, so if someone's in a panic, they can run up and down the corridors and see Mr. Corbyn and knock on the door or whatever, but they'll know which rooms we're in. And also it helps us, so we know that kids aren't going in and out of different rooms and stuff like that, because if I go into a room and there's someone who shouldn't be in there, then I can just check the door, which is really useful as well. Right, it is 7:45 on a Wednesday, so I imagine we can probably wrap up there. If anybody wants to ask me any questions at any point, just send me an email. I'll get back to you as quick as I can. It is a busy time, but I will get back to you as quick as I can. And yeah, this is recorded as well. So if you want to jump on and rewatch it, you're welcome to. I'll try and send the link out at some point. So yeah, thank you for your time, everybody. If you want to stick around and ask me questions, great. If not, hopefully go off and enjoy dinner and enjoy your evening.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Well done. See who was
Thank you.
who's listening. There we go. Oh, you always get one. You usually get one who's just left their
Just hangs
phone or
behind,
whatever.
yeah. It's normally my son or daughter has an allergy. That's normally the most common one.
Yeah, true. I didn't even cover that, but there you go. There was too
I
much
guess I haven't.
information.
That's good.
Yeah.
No, all good.
Thanks for that, mate. Sorry, it's a lot, but I just try and do everything so that then that
absolutely
end
right
bit
thing to
is
do.
that end bit is always a lot quicker, and hopefully the parents were sat there with like loads of questions and just go, oh, tick it off.
Yeah. So what's your time frame then? To obviously you said you're waiting for your powers that be to send it out.
So all we were doing, mate, was just waiting for this call to just generate a bit of interest.
Okay.
So after this, now I've seen there were 30 people on this call, and there's probably more people who are interested.
I was going to say they sounded like they were worried they wouldn't get a place rather than.
Yeah, exactly. So I've had quite a lot of emails back with people being like, we're desperate to come. So I will, and obviously the kids had a great time last year. So I will go out to WisePay, as in our finance team, just say, can you make this available up to 50 spots or whatever? I know you've quoted for 40, but we'll say, can we make it available for that? And then I don't think we'll get as many because we had 67 over 2 year
It's only
groups
1 year
last year.
group as well, isn't it?
Yeah, so I'm anticipating it'll probably be about 40, I would have thought. But I don't want people missing out on it. So
No.
So yeah, that's all good. So yeah, so anyway, I'll reach out to them. They'll get back to me as soon as they can do it. Hopefully it's before Christmas. Because they work year round anyway, so they'll have an extra week from us. And then as soon as they set it up, I'll just ping it out to parents and they can start putting their money where their mouths are.
Okay. Yeah, so for flights wise, we're still not quite there for next October. But I would think certainly between now and the new year, I would think they probably are. So again, we've got various options. So British Airways, which probably offer us the best terms, so we're able to hold the seats for 30 days.
Yeah.
But that does tend to mean flying from Heathrow. So I know in an ideal world, it's Gatwick suits for you.
Mate, it really doesn't make much difference.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
And then the other one is Vueling, which obviously who you went with last time.
Yeah.
So their terms are just slightly different. So we can only hold the seats for a week.
Yeah.
So it's that little bit. So in an ideal world, it more than likely we'll try and get both held just to cover both of his options. Because like I said, you don't really want antisocial flight times. So obviously the good times go quicker than the not so good times.
Yeah. I'm happy with either of those. In terms of making it easier for us, we are at that time in the morning. It's probably 50 minutes to Heathrow, and it's maybe an hour to Heathrow and 45 minutes to Gatwick. It's really not. It doesn't make any difference.
No.
So yeah, you don't need to worry too much about that.
And timings will be on a par to this year.
Yeah, exactly. Someone's just joined. Anyway, I'll log off there, mate. Thank you for being there tonight, even though
not that
much to be said, but all good. Anyway, let's go and enjoy the rest of our evenings.
Yeah.
Cheers,
okay.
mate. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Bye now.